Alright guys, today we're going to shoot and review this Discoveryopt ELR 5-40x56 SFIR first focal plane. It's a 35mm tube. Previously did an unboxing video if you want to check that out, and it has all the details and such in that video as well, specifications and whatnot. I'll put a link in the description to that video, or you can just check out the parts, accessories, and optics playlists for all the Optic reviews, but this video will be the shooting portion. So again, for all the details, check out the previous video. So I got her mounted up here on John's BN36. Who makes that? It's slipping my mind right now. Noreen. I'll either already have or will have coming a review video of this rifle. So if it's already up, there'll be a link in the description as soon as this video posts. If not, I will get it in there just as soon as the review on that rifle does post. So if you want to check that out, pretty sweet rifle. It's a 30-06 AR style rifle, semi-automatic. I can't wait to shoot this thing. Big thanks to John at Boomstick 22 LR for loaning the rifle. But anyways, this video is about the scope. So we're out here on the 500 yard range. It's actually 540 clear to the very back. We're going to start out here. I'm hoping this rifle likes the ammo that I got. So if it groups it tight enough, I will most likely be taking this out to the 1,000 yard range. So stay tuned in the video, hopefully, for that. But we're going to start out here. So I'm going to work on getting this thing zeroed, and then we'll reach out there. And I'm happy to report that 40x magnification, I don't know how true to 40x it is. I intended and will, we should be going to the 1,000 yard range. I'm going out there, so I'll at least take this one with me, even if the gun doesn't like the ammo enough to shoot 1,000 yards, and do that side-by-side comparison I was talking about in the unboxing video. I have their 25x, and I was like, man, can you really pull off 40x? So it definitely zooms in quite a bit further than that 25x, but I'd like to have side-by-side comparison for you guys, so we'll try to make that happen in this video. But it's definitely zooming way in there, clear out there at 500 yards. I feel like I could pick a sparrow off, you know, if the gun was actually accurate enough, because it zooms in pretty dang far. And I'm also happy to report, it takes a little bit of fidgeting. You got to get your parallax set, which again, just like when the 5-25 I reviewed, the parallax setting seems to be spot on. A lot of the budget optics and some of even the higher end optics, to be honest, the parallax setting doesn't quite coincide with what you're the distance that you're shooting. But this one, again, just like the 25x version of this, it lines up perfectly for me. When I got it all the way up on 40, it does take a little bit of finesse to get your eye just in the right place, and you have to have your diopter perfectly focused for your eye and all that. But I am able to see a clear image out there 500 yards, and I'll try it further out too when we go to the other range. But so far, clear back there at 540. Once I got the diopter set correctly and I have my parallax on 500 as it should be, I get my eye in just the right spot and I have a nice clear image. So it's going to be a little more difficult with it all the way up on 40, which again is honestly overkill for 500 yards. You do not need 40x magnification for 500 yards. It's probably definitely going to come in handy at 1,000, but I am getting a clear image. I just have to hold my face in the right spot, and it's a difference of only a few millimeters. So I found that if I don't get it right away, it's helpful to bring my head up and then put it back down, bring it up, put it back down. I get it just about every time, but if I move my head a little bit while I'm looking through it, then it'll kind of like blur on me, and I just bring my head up and look back through. But I'm not complaining. To be able to get a 40x magnification, I just got to be real careful with my head placement, and I get a crystal clear image out there at 500. And I'll get some images up for you guys, some still frame images to the best of my ability of what it looks like through the scope, and get some of it illuminated and such. And again, check out the unboxing video for all the details. But one of my favorite things about this, in this price range especially, is just how accurate these knobs are. Don't know if you can hear the clicking over the wind we have today. It's up to 10 miles an hour. It's pretty windy right now, so I hope you guys can hear me all right. But there's no There's no mush to speak of, which is awesome for an optic in this price range. Real fine, crisp, accurate adjustment there on both of your dials for windage and elevation. I'm sure, you know, some $2,000 model scopes are a little more crisp and precise, but for what these run, I'm highly impressed, because I've ran other scopes at about the same price range and they still got that mushiness to them, and the Discoveryopt, both of them now that I've tested, do not. But anyways, let's get this thing zeroed in. And just for those who would want to know, the ammunition I'm using today, Freedom Munitions, 180 grain soft point. So as I said, let's hope she likes them. All right, remember this thing needs zeroed, so I'm going to go for the clay second to the left. So not the leftmost clay, but the one very next to it, about a foot away on the right hand side. Second from the left. God. It's gone. That's crazy. I don't think we hit exactly where it was, but it was dang close, so the scope was almost zeroed for it right out of the box. That's pretty close, so I'm going to go ahead and hit the paper out here at 100, and then we'll fine-tune it. Aiming at the top red dot, but they hit low right just above the right dot. Well, so far she seems accurate. Put two right next to each other down there at 100 yards, and these are literally my first shots other than that one on the clay. But obviously we're low right there, so let me give some adjustments on the scope to get her zeroed down there. Finished zeroing the scope off camera, and here's some shots at 300 yards on the 16-inch gong. She's a wiggling. All right, let's see if we can get her out to 500 yards back there. All right, well, from what I could tell, and again, I can see better through the scope, first two were pretty centralized. The second one dropped a little low right, but still not much bigger than a fist-sized group out there, so that's certainly acceptable. All right, here's some images through the scope for you guys. Keep in mind, it's distorted a little bit because it's difficult to get these through the scope with the camera, so it looks more clear and crisp in person. But here it is on the minimum magnification 5x at 100 yards, and then here I got it on 25x. Like the previous scope they sent me, it maxed out at 25x, so here's 25x at 100 yards. And I'm going to have some side-by-side comparisons coming up for you guys in just a moment when we go to the other range. I took the other 25x scope out with me to compare it to this one on 25x. And then here it is on 40x at 100 yards, which I don't know how well you can tell, but it nearly doubled the size of that target, if not doubled it. But here's a side-by-side comparison. It makes it a little easier to see that there is actually quite a massive difference between 25x and 40x. And there's that. So as you can see, there is a big difference between 25x and 40x. So the only thing that matters at this point is, okay, is it true to magnification? Is 25x 25x like it says? Is 40x 40x like it says? So that's why I have those side-by-side comparisons coming up for you guys. But I can tell you right now, just by looking at it, it's like, yeah, wow, that's definitely 40x. It brings you way closer. Then out here at 500 yards, there's the minimum magnification 5x, and then 25x. and 40x. And again, sorry for the distortion. It was very difficult to get images, especially with this thing all the way up at 40x there. And then there's your side-by-side comparison. 40x, 500 yards, 25x on the left, 40x on the right, and as you can see, that crow practically doubled in size. So here we are at the 1,000-yard range. I'm going to start out at 600 on the big, wide, dark mound clear out there that goes from left and right the furthest. That's the 600-yard mound. And then clear back there where you see the numbers, that dirt patch in front of it is 1,000 yards. And then I'll have more scope images for you and some side-by-sides out here as well. "600 yards, second target from the right. "700 yards, half scale silhouette. No ding, but you can see it wiggle and the dust kick up under it from the bullet fragment. Now we're out here at 1,000 yards. I'm shooting at the target under the number 15, which, by the way, the big white square is not a target. They hang. Paper targets from that during competitions. What I'm shooting at is a little tiny white square under that big white square on the number 15, which these are 12 by 12 inch targets all the way out here at 1,000 yards, by the way. Still aiming at 15. Now you can see it wiggle there, but clear back there at 1,000 yards, it's very difficult to hear any noise from the impact. Again, remember, it's more clear and crisp in person. It's difficult to get these images through the scope, especially once it's up on 40x. But there we are at 1,000 on 5x. And then there is 1,000 yards on 25x. And then finally on 40x. And as you can see, I'm having a real hard time getting a clear image for you guys. But it's because of my camera. It looks clear to me looking through the scope. And then there's a side-by-side of 25x and 40x, just so you can see the size difference. And then clear up here on the hills, 1 mile on 5x. And then on 25x. And then 40x. And again, it's all distorted because very difficult to get that image on 40x for you guys, but it's clear to me looking through the scope. And there's your side-by-side, 25x versus 40x at 1 mile. And then here's a comparison between the first Discoveryopt scope I reviewed. Again, should be a link in the description for that if you want to check it out. Also, you can just check out the parts, accessories, and optics playlist on the channel. But on the left is that first Discoveryopt. Maximum magnification on that one was 25x. And then on the right here is our 40x that we're reviewing today, but I have it set at 25x. So as you can see from the images there, the reticle does look slightly different, which is to be expected because they would have to use a different reticle for 40x. But other than that, they both seem to be about the same magnification there, and they're both set at 25x. So not only would I tell you right off the bat that it definitely looks like 40x, like they're advertising once you have it on 40x, but I think this should serve as definitive proof. I got them both set on 25 here, and they both look pretty much the same, other than, again, the fact that they have a slightly different reticle. So don't let that trick or fool you. That's why it looks different slightly, because they have different reticles. And again, for the last time, more clear and crisp in person than what I can achieve capturing through my camera. And then lastly, the illuminated center of the reticle. People always ask, is it daytime bright? As you can see here, complete daytime. I focused on the car there. I don't think you guys can really see it at all. It's a bright background, obviously, which I'm going to show you a dark background here in a second. I could barely see it, but through the camera it's not picking it up. And now, 10 seconds later, pointing at a dark colored background, obviously you can see it there. And it might have helped if I zoomed in a little further, because it's a first focal plane, so it would have made that center crosshair larger, but regardless, you can see how you can see it against a dark background there, which that is the whole point that a lot of people don't understand about the illuminated reticle. Not only is it for low light conditions when it's like dusk or near dusk, where it's starting to get dark out but not quite completely dark, that way you can see your reticle against a dark background, but also during the day. So if you're hunting, you know, a dark colored animal like a wild boar or a black bear or perhaps a moose, all that matters, see, a lot of people show it in the daytime and say, oh, it's not daytime bright, yada yada yada, but they're not putting it against a dark background. That's the whole point. So, you know, even during the day, if you're shooting at a black animal, your crosshairs are black, your reticle's black, so you probably can't see it against a black animal. So that's the whole point of it there. And as you can see, I aim it at something dark even in broad daylight, and you can now see that illuminated reticle. So my point is, the whole purpose of the illuminated reticle is not to aim it and see it against brightly colored targets in broad daylight. The whole point is so that you can see it against dark colored targets, which, as you can see there, it is obviously visible against a dark colored target even in broad daylight. So yeah, overall, I have no complaints. This thing will get you out to 1,000 yards easy. Even out there to a mile. I mean, you can shoot a mile with a 25x, but this is going to get you a little closer, obviously, as you saw. I mean, I don't have any complaints. I love it, just like I did the first 5-25 they sent me, and this 5-40 is no different. Clear, crisp images and reticle. Like I said, the turrets, well, I guess I said in the unboxing video, you guys would have to have watched. Again, that's linked in the description if you want to know more details on the scope. But nice, precise, crisp turrets there, no mush. I mean, I've seen some people mention the weight, but I mean, you know, that kind of goes hand in hand. When you're shooting extreme long range, you are going to have generally a larger, heavier gun and a larger, heavier scope. So I don't see what the issue is with that. But yeah, she's heavy. Rezeroable, zero stop, illuminated reticle. Again, check out the original unboxing and overview video for all the details linked in the description pertaining to that. But yeah, I think it's an excellent scope for the money. I fell in love immediately with the very first one that they sent me. This is like right in the running price-wise anyway, with like Arkin and Right-On and scopes like that. It's hard to say because I haven't used those much, but I have a pretty large suspicion that these Discoveryops are better. They're certainly no worse. So on a budget, I'm a huge fan of these, and I don't honestly know that you can get a better scope for the money. So thanks for watching. There'll be a link in the description for the scope, possibly a discount code as well. If you want to get yourself any of the other products you see me use in my videos, like my shooting bag, steel targets, paper targets, target holder, safety glasses, earmuffs, and more, link in the description for all that as well. Appreciate you stopping by and checking this one out, and I hope to catch you on the next one.